Right, hi everyone, I'm Jane Green and I'm Director of Music at Leo Academy Trust, and I'm here today to bring you an inset on reading notation. I'm going to start with sharing some slides with you, just basically finding out what notation is. So bear with me. Okay. All right, so like I said, this is an introduction to music notation. I'm going to start from early years and then go to Key Stage 1. And if we've got time, we'll have a look at Key Stage 2, but if not, I'll do that in a separate session. So first of all, what is music notation? Well, music notations are basically the symbols used in written music. Music notation or music notes let players know which note to play and how long to play it for. It's also essential if you want to remember your music or have other musicians play it. So if you actually want it sort of recorded down, written down, it's one of the most essential things, although obviously you can record music now and do it that way. There are other ways of writing music down. Rhythm notation is used for drums and percussion instruments, while guitar players read tablature, known as tabs, instead of standard music notation. But I'm going to concentrate on two different forms today, really, or three. Graphic notation, which is where pictures and symbols represent sounds. I'm going to look at blob notation and then the proper staff notation, which you will probably think of as proper music notation. So that's what we're going to be looking at. And like I've already said, what is the importance of music notation? Well, basically, it gives important information to a musical performer. It tells them what notes to play, how fast or slow to play them, and often gives them instructions about dynamics, which are how loud or quiet a piece of music is, and timbre, these sort of type of sounds. So basically, the musical score is like a language within itself. It's a form of communication. Right. Just to go through, the national curriculum does actually expect people to teach, or teachers to teach, music notation. And you can see here that down here it says to understand and explore how music is created, produced and communicated, including through the interrelated dimensions of music, which are pitch, duration, dynamics, tempo, timbre, texture, structure, and appropriate musical notations. So it is there. And particularly in Key Stage 2, it gets a little sort of paragraph, a little line to itself. They are expected to be able to use and understand staff and other musical notations. I think personally, the earlier it starts, the easier it is, as with any kind of language. If a child starts to learn a second language, from year dot, they don't even think about it. It just comes naturally. And I think it's the same with music notation. So I am going to start by just showing you what I do with early years to start with. So the first thing I do is I actually link toys to basic graphic notation. And I've got a song called Musicland, so I'm just going to stop presenting for a while. Basically, Musicland is using toys. I use teddy bears, but it doesn't have to be teddy bears. And it's basically, it goes, follow me to Musicland, 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 follow me to Musicland, let's see who we find there. And I kind of hide the bear somewhere and they'll say, oh, look, that's a bear. And I say, well, this is Mummy Bear. And Mummy Bear, she walks like this, ta, 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 ta. So that's the introduction to getting them to think about music notation. And what I would do is actually getting them to feel the actual beat as well. So they sing that. So they sing, Mummy Bear, she walks like this, ta, 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 ta. Mummy Bear, she walks like this, ta, 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 ta. And we might do that. I mean, you don't introduce this all in one lesson, but then maybe a couple of sessions later, I will have some of these footprints. They can either be cut out separately and placed on the floor if you've got your children in a circle, or they can be held up on a card, on a flashcard like this. And I will say, who do you think, whose footprints are these? So they'll say, oh, Mummy Bear, hopefully. And so we'll go, can anyone remember what Mummy Bear sound like? So we say, Mummy Bear, she walks like this, ta, 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 etc. So you carry on with that. And I've got a similar idea for Baby Bear. Basically, I introduced Baby Bear as well a few weeks later. Or maybe you do Mummy Bear for half term and then Baby Bear. So Baby Bear sounds like this. Baby Bear, he sounds like this. T, 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 T. Okay, so basically you're splitting the beat. And again, I know I'm whizzing through this, but you're not 4 years old. So Baby Bear, you have Baby Bear's footprints. And this time we sing, do you remember how he sounds or how he walks? Baby Bear, he walks like this. T, 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 T. And you might sort of mix and match. So they'll sing ta, 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 T, 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 T. I also get them tapping those on chopsticks or claves. So they're actually, they're not only feeling it in their bodies, but they can actually start putting those rhythms, very basic rhythms, but putting them onto a basic percussion instrument. And obviously a set of chopsticks don't cost very much. So most classes can have those actually in class. Then obviously after that has progressed, I then start to subconsciously turn the cards over. So we might be singing one day, Mummy Bear, she walks like this, ta, 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 ta. Mummy Bear, she walks like this, ta, 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 ta. And so they will understand that if I ask them to clap that rhythm, they will clap it. And they say ta, 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 ta. Now, I don't know if you know, but this is sort of like a form of, it's basically Kadai. Have you heard of Kadai?
Not really, no. What was it? Say again, sorry?
Kadai.
I don't think so.
No. I've got a little video, actually, of a practitioner that uses a lot of Kadai and Delcro's methods. And this is basically using, you call them tars instead of crotchets, because these, I was always taught these were crotchets. Well, crotchets don't really mean a lot to a 4-year-old, whereas tar, you actually feeling it, aren't you?
Actually, yeah.
And then TTs, obviously,
yeah.
I just like 2 cups of tea or whatever. So, and then they learn to understand those 2 forms of notation. And I've got children in nursery and reception that can do that quite easily. So, yeah. I'm just going to, what I'll do, I'll just show you a little bit of this film because it's quite interesting to see how early years you start sort of getting the different pitches and different notes. So I'll see if I can find it. I almost pressed stop recording then by mistake. Right, so there we go. Hopefully this is it. I'll just play a little bit.
Hello everyone, glad that you are here.
I'm Jimmy, I'm the senior lead teacher for music.
Hello everyone, glad that you are here.
The great thing about music in early years and Key Stage 1 is that you don't need to be a virtuoso musician to be able to do it. We use the Kadai approach, which is based on singing.
Have you brought your singing voice? Yes.
And when you combine that with the Dalcroze approach, which is based on expressing music through movement, and you combine it with lots of child-led activities.
Swimming fast, swimming fast,
It's a very, very powerful music program.
swimming fast, all day long.
And that really kind of draws children into the joy of making music. We can then start very subtly preparing musical concepts.
Oh, like the rain. And
One of the earliest things we start to do is encourage gross motor movements to a pulse.
up like a rocket and down like...
And by experiencing the rhythm and the pulse with their whole body, it lays a really strong foundation. So usually by halfway through reception year, children are all very confident at expressing themselves vocally.
Ayan? Hey, look at me. I am just singing.
Children sing lots of songs involving the notes so and me.
Hey, look at me. I am jumping, can't you see?
And we'll highlight that with what I call embodied learning. So a great way of doing that is with the parachute. So the children are all moving the parachute up for the high note, all moving it down. And it's also great for everyone moving together.
Off we go. Low, high, reach for the sky.
And then what you can actually do is remove the parachute from these games after they've been playing them for a while, and then they're moving their arms up and down to represent the pitch.
Reach for the sky.
In year one, that becomes hand signs.
Off we go.
So me, so me.
When children are reading from your hand signs, they're starting to actually read the music.
So me, so me. Good.
And then what we'll also do is start to represent the two notes on two different lines on the floor so that children can actually physically jump from so to me.
Yeah, well done. Someone else can do that.
And that's teaching them that we read across from left to right. Believe it or not, a lot of children will struggle with that, and they'll start stacking all the notes on top of each other, and they struggle with this concept of time moving across that way. Whereas if they're actually physically doing that on a very large floor stave, it's a brilliant way of teaching it. For a floor stave, you just need some masking tape. Very, very easy resource to make. There.
Yeah, that's basically what I've been doing on the cards here. Basically, you've got the tar, but I've actually put the actual note head on top. But you can just use stick notation if you want like this. But what I think was really good is he's sort of introducing the musical stave. That's the lines that music is written on by putting tape on the floor. And it's really nice for the children to actually, you know, recognize those intervals from the so me, so me, and they're actually jumping of the line. So they're instantly sort of thinking about pitch and internalizing that pitch. I'll just play a little.
Very good. And the same thing happens with rhythms. We'll associate physical signs with the rhythm. So that is a crotchet or a tar, and that is a pair of quavers or TT. And that's how it actually looks when it's notated.
Don't shout it out. We're going to try this all together. This bit. Off we go.
By the end of year one, children will be reading those two notes and the simple rhythms very fluently. And then we can reinforce that with practice activities such as composing rhythms using chairs.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Off we go.
Two children sit on a chair if it's a TT, one child sits on a chair if it's a tar, and if we have a rest where there's nothing on that beat, there'll be nobody on the chair.
This time.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. Okay, but I love that chair idea. I haven't seen that before, and I think I'm going to try that one out because it's really nice. It's kind of like musical chairs, but get them, you know, you could say, write this you know, put that up on the card, and they have to form it on chairs. So it could be one child per chair. And then when you start mixing them up, so this would be ta, ti, ti, ta, ti, ti, and you ask them to form that on their chairs. So I think I'm gonna try that. Basically, I use those with like I said, with early years, and I think you can go into year 1, but really year 1, you're looking more at proper stick notation rather than the graphics. However, I'm going to show you, have you heard of charanga, George?
Say again?
Charanga.
I don't think so. Not by name.
No, it's a scheme. Sorry, am I still presenting?
Yes.
Right, let me come out. Okay, yeah, it's basically a scheme of work, and it's free for all Sutton music teachers. So anyone, I can get you a login if you wanted to, but it's supported by Sutton Music Service, and it's quite a well-recognised scheme of work, and it's really, really good for non-specialist teachers. But there's a part of it in charanga that basically gives you some really good ideas for notation activities. So I'll just show you what I mean. If you think about what we've just been doing, you know, those rhythm cards. I think this is it. Okay. So basically, there's a part of it where you go into rhythm grid notation, and you can basically compose your own rhythm grid. So what I've been doing sort of with this, again, with reception, year 1, you can sort of change the, if you like, the blobs or the footprints for shapes. And this is a nice sort of composition tool. And again, it's using graphics to represent sound. So for example, you just drag and drop like this, so you can change them if you want to. But what I've done, whoopsie, what I did was I wanted them to add a sort of body sound for each shape. So we said, right, I don't know, a square's a stamp, that's a clap, stamp, clap, triangle's a click. That's obviously a silent beat, and say this is a finger tap. So they would have a go, and they go stamp, clap, click, clap, click, tap, tap, stamp, clap, click, tap, stamp, clap. I mean, that's obviously quite tricky. That's sort of more a year 2 level, I would imagine. Or even I've got even sort of Key Stage 2 children doing this, and they quite like it. And you can then put it onto different instruments as well. So you could say, right, the squares, tambourines. These are drums. The triangles are triangles, and these could be claves. So you can actually, you know, add instruments as well. So that's a nice activity that can be. I think you can, across all age groups, you can make it simpler or more complicated depending on what you want to do. Does that sort of make sense so far?
Yeah, I think I remember doing that in year 6 actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, but it was on like a YouTube video.
Oh,
was already
that's interesting.
I think the already set and meant to sort of go along with the shapes, I think.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's like graphic notation. I mean, the children should be writing music. Yeah, it's great that, you know, they can start writing proper notation like this, but obviously they can write musical scores using shapes, you know, symbols, whatever. And I mean, it makes it a lot more accessible as well, doesn't it? Because
Exactly, yeah.
Everyone understands pictures at the end of the day. So yeah, and then the same, that same rhythm grid, you can change it, which is really nice here. Settings. If you go to settings, you can then get blobs or notes. So this would be the equivalent of your mummy bear footprint. And I've done this with sort of year 1s, and they understand because you know, this is one footprint in one box. That is a tar. So you put, oh gosh, you put that in. I'm trying to do too many things at once here. So that's a tar. And then they understand that these would be TTs. And they understand, I didn't show you, but I have got some cards where I introduce a zigzag, which basically represents a silent beat. So they then understand that that's the sh, the silent beat. So you can basically, they can drag and drop, because obviously with the interactive whiteboards, they can drag, so they can compose their own rhythm using this. And then they can actually have a go. We're going to leave these out for a minute because that's getting a bit complex for year one. So, and basically you can play it through and you can hear it. I'm just going to slow, this is to slow it down so they can actually listen to it. I'm just going to change the, you can have a backing beat.
Okay.
But I think that's Bhangra. Bhangra is quite tricky because it tends to obliterate. It's got some complex rhythms in it. So let's try some rock. I think rock's a bit easier for them. It's gone back to the tempo. So you take the tempo down, hear it. I'm going to go back to the beginning though. Is it going to let me do that?
That's it.
That's not it. And basically, so it goes on. So you can see how that, you know, the sort of Mummy Bear's footprints and Baby Bear suddenly become more like music notation. I mean, I actually use these straight away, but this is a nice way of sort of recapping it, and when they come to compose their own rhythms. And then if you go to this section here, it actually says notes. So if you press this, it will turn what you just put in blob notation into proper staff notation. So you can see again, I always say to the children, it's how many footprints can you see? It's one blob, so that's Mummy Bear, so that's a tar. So they know that. I don't let them, don't worry them too much. And then how many blobs can you see here? 2. So it's TT, so it's Baby Bear. So they can basically, year ones, I've got them clapping this rhythm here. You can hear it. Let's drag a few more in. And then again, you can get them to play these on instruments or chopsticks, whatever's handy. T, T, and then tar. So that sounds like this. Okay, so that's a really quick way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, I mean, I'm just going to come back to my slides because that was the. This is the. Oh, hold on. Can you see that now?
I can. Yeah. Is it Kodami?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. That was the clip that I shared with you a few minutes ago. So what I've basically gone through so far is linking, the Musicland, Mummy Bear and Baby Bear, using these flashcards with either stick notation, so you can have it without the blobs, or you can just have the blobs. It doesn't really matter. It's whatever that you find easy for the children. The children will latch onto anything, I think. And then charanga is the scheme of work I've just shown you there, where you've got the blob notation within the rhythm grids. And like I said, you can put it onto basic percussion instruments or basic, like chopsticks or claves. Now, year one, again, just recap everything that you've done. Explore tar, TT, and sh. So that was what we did with the silent beat. I'm just going to skip to 2. Year 2, I would start to introduce tiri tiri, which are actually, if somebody reads music, they look like this. So they're 4 blobs within 1 beat. So each one of those is worth a quarter of a beat. So this would be ta, sh, tiri, tiri, ta, sh, tiri, tiri, ta. So that's, I get them to think, I said, oh, I've got a friend called Terry. So I just say his name. I can't say his name properly. I call him Tiri. And I say it twice because I can't get it right. So yeah, so they kind of say Tiri, Tiri, and that's their Tiri, Tiri. So that is called a semi-quaver. But I think Tiri, Tiri is more useful for them because it actually makes them understand the rhythm of the notation that they're seeing. Just to, let me just go back to this. Share this. Can you see that, George?
I can, yes.
Yeah. Basically, you can see here. If I go back to blobs, you can introduce this in blobs. This is the tiri tiri because there are 4 in the beat. So if I play that, that would be ta, ti, ti, tiri, tiri, ta. And then if you want to change it, you can change it to notes. And then, I mean, obviously this is over a period of time. You do it in one lesson. It takes, you know, I would take sort of a few weeks on each one. But over a period of a year, you should be able to get them reading this confidently, and they know exactly what, and reading it and playing it on instruments. So yeah, so that would be ta, ti, ti, tiri, tiri, ta. Ti, ti, tiri, tiri. T, T, ta. Do you want to do the next row?
All right. Tiri, tiri, ta.
Tiri, tiri, ta. I'm treating you like a 7-year-old now. Tiri, tiri, ta.
And then T, T, ta, please.
Yeah, T, T, ta. It's like countdown, isn't it? Can I have an R, please?
Yeah.
Consonant. And then say ta, ti, ti, tiri, tiri, ta. So now let's have a sh at the end. Okay, so that we'll hear it. Hopefully you'll hear it now. Ready, go. Okay, so that's, yeah, that is basically, that's a really basic introduction to reading rhythms and notation. Obviously, I haven't talked about the pitch of different notation, which is why I think I need to split it into 2 groups. But I've got some other cards as well, which, I mean, ta is the first one you would introduce. TT, I think, is second. I introduced this one next. Some people wouldn't. Tiri tiri, and then this one
So,
is
and the shush and the sh.
Oh, and the sh, yeah, sh is right at the beginning. Yeah, the sh I would introduce. You can introduce that in reception, really, because I just introduced it as a, like I said, it's a
Zigzag.
like a zigzag. Yeah, that's it. But this one, I think once you've learned this one as well, you've got a really good basic notation then of what they're worth, so you'll be able to read rhythms. This one is a ta. So what I tend to do is they go ta. So it's not literally ta ta, because that would be two crotchets. That would be that ta ta.
Yeah.
That is ta. So it actually lasts for 2 beats.
Okay.
So I get them to clap once, ta. So if you were singing it, you go la rather than la la. Do you see what I mean? It's a 2-beat note.
Yeah.
So it's called a minim if you want the proper name, but it's a ta. So that would be ta ta ta.
Okay, and sorry. So does the ta does the midim go on for 2 beats?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it. So ta ta ta.
Okay.
Okay, and then so this one, you tell me this one.
So that's ta, ti, ti, ta.
Oh, that's it. Good. Yeah, good. And clap that one.
Okay. Oh no, wait.
I count you in. Ready, off you go. Perfect. A-star student. And what about that one? This one always tricks them because they have to do that to start with.
Okay.
So I'll count you in. Ready, off we go. That's it. Pretty good. Yeah. Try and always feel the pulse underneath. So that's why I always say ready, off we go. So it's shh, ti, ti, ta. When they're younger, when they're in reception and sort of nursery, and even year one, I let them actually say shh, because it's much easier for them to put a sound in there rather than even, they shouldn't really, because it is a silent beat. But if they actually do that, they're less likely to, they understand what it means then.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's let me just present in that. Just going to come back to my slide for a second. Oh, technical hitch. There we go. Yeah, so basically here you've used tiri tiri, which are the semiquavers, tiri tiri ti ti ta, and then I said in key stage 2, the beginning, to introduce minims, which are those ta. To be honest, look, because of the time, I'm probably not going to go on to looking at dotted minims and semi-breves. I think what I might do is do this as another session. Because what I'd like to do, like if you want to read music as well, I think it'd be nice to do a session on the musical stave. So the 5 lines that music is written on, and actually getting you to sort of understand how, because that's what you obviously want to be able to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
But obviously reading the rhythms is the first step towards that. So which you've started on today. I'll just show you something, because of what you want to learn, because you can I could get you a Charanga login. You can have a look at this yourself if you wanted to sort of teach yourself.
Okay.
Right, let's have a look. So, yeah, I'm just gonna have a look at this. Right here, just gonna go to menu. I'm gonna go back. Right, so this is a unit of work within Charanga. It's based on the song "Lean on Me," and it's in stage 4 of the lessons. It gets the children to compose, and this obviously is teaching notation as well. So you just press this, and it'll give you 3 notes. Now I'm not too worried about that at the moment, but what this does, you can build this up. So in key stage 2, it gives you the pulse to start with. And then it will break it into bars. Now, I don't know how much you know, but basically music has different time signatures.
Yep.
So this one is in 4 beats in a bar. And it's always the top number that tells you how many beats there are. The bottom number tells you what kind of beats they are. So this would be their 4 crotchets in a bar, or 4 tars in a bar, which is why you've got these 4, if you like 4 boxes in each bar. And then this is the bar line. But this is quite nice for children to start with, because they can add, say, this would be their tar. Oh gosh, hold on, let's delete that. Didn't go where I wanted it. So this is a tar, this is a tar, and a tar. So that would be like a minim followed by 2 crotchets, which is, there we go. So that is what I've just put there. Okay. Ta, ta, ta. And you can build this up, and then you can play it. So. etc. That's another way of using the blob notation. Now, the next step to that is actually writing it like you've just done there, but it's just putting it on one line, okay, to get them used to reading those notes. And then the next step is this. What this does, it gives you some notes that will go with the music Lean On Me. I don't know. Up on a G. This one can be a G as pitch up. And this one, we go down. No, it won't let me get to it. I'm gonna do an F there. Let's do another tar, because we haven't done this. And to tar tar. So let's just try an F. Oh no, sorry. So this, it basically gives you 3 notes that the children can play. So you can put this onto glockenspiels or whatever you've got. And then we play it. Go back to the beginning. That doesn't sound very good at all. I thought the notes that they're supposed to give you.
I feel like the piano in the song is in a different tempo. I think it's like sort of the first 3 beats,
yeah,
6, or in 3/4 maybe, and then.
No, that was odd. But it's supposed to play what's on there. But you kind of get the idea of what this is doing. If you go to that, then you see we go from this, where it shows you that A is obviously slightly higher than an F. It's 2 notes higher and 1 note higher than a G. And then it starts to put it onto the musical stave. So you actually get it on the musical stave here. So you've got the 5, I don't know whether you know, they're basically 5 lines, and you always read from the bottom up. And I've got some silly things. They're a bit childish, but okay. This basically, elephants go backwards during February. They are basically the line notes. So, and then the space notes spell face. So the space notes spell face, that rhyme. So hold on, just let me find that again for you. So basically, these are the lines. So elephants. So if the note head has that bottom line going through it, through the middle of it, that's an E. Elephants, go. That is a G, because it's got the line going through that there. That's the second line. So what would this note be?
I'm still on the slide, I'm afraid.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so.
Right, so yeah, so basically, I'll just do that again. Elephants go backwards. So it's elephants is this line.
Yeah.
Go is this line. Backwards, B is this line, the middle line. Hey diddle diddle, B sits in the middle. That's what I always tell the kids. And then D is this line during February.
Okay.
So this is a G because through the middle of the note head itself, that's the round bit, you've got the line going, that G line going through it. Elephants go. So if the note head had the bottom line going through it, what note would it be?
I mean, E.
Yeah, exactly. What about this one, the middle line going through it?
That'd be a B.
Yeah, exactly. So that's basically how you start to read music. And then the space notes, what I call the space notes are the gaps in between those lines. There's only 4. There's this space here, and it spells face. So this is an F. If the note head was here, it'd be an F. This one is A, because it's in between those 2 lines, A. What would this space be?
That'd be C.
A C, good, and then an E.
Yeah.
So that basically gives you, you know, the basic stave notation.